World Education online classes now in Lumens. I'm Kayla Anderson and I'm the Marketing Specialist here at Augusoft. We have a great event for you today and we're very excited that you could join us. Before we get started, I'd just like to go through some quick technical housekeeping items. Today's webcast is going to be muted for attendees, so there's not going to be any live interaction. The panel on your right provides an area for you to enter your questions that I will ask at the end of the webcast. We are recording today's presentation, and the recording will be made available online on our website within the next day or so, along with a copy of the presentation. So with that in mind, we can go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do here is we have a polling question. All right, so the first poll here is, how many of you are already customers? We'll just take a few more seconds here. All right, so it looks like the results here, it looks like 60% of you are already Augusoft customers and 9% are already World Education customers. All right, so with that, I will turn it over to Beth.
Hi, this is Beth Moorhead, Director of Business Development with Augusoft. This is really an exciting time for Augusoft again because we have a dear friend sitting across the table from me, Steve Gatlin, and we've been partners with Steve for many years, and we were thrilled when Steve wanted to come back into the marketplace into the United States and be offering courses and classes for our clients. Those of you who are not familiar with Augusoft, we've been in business 20 years. We were the first cloud-based or web-hosted SaaS solution for registration and enrollment, specifically designed for continuing education. We have many other firsts, but we were also the first to have online classes run seamlessly through Lumens, our product. And seamlessly meaning it gives the student single sign-on capabilities with immediate access into the course or class. And so we're delighted that now we're going to be able to offer even more classes and course offerings through our partnership with World Education, which is Steve Gatlin's newly formed company for the United States market. World Education, it's built a solid reputation based on Steve's background and who Steve is for providing innovative solutions with accredited colleges and universities and seeking really to broaden their whole online course offerings for the nation and also international. So many people ask us, so Beth and Jem and the rest of the team at Augusoft, why did you partner with World Education? We'll get into that in a second, but we're going to take another polling question here. Go ahead, Kayla.
All right, looks like the second one here is, does your program offer online classes? The options here are yes from one provider, yes from 2+ providers, no or not yet, but we'd like to.
So we'll give you guys some time to answer this response. It's very interesting, too, as we look at various partnerships with, there's multiple online class providers out there that we could partner with. And we specifically partnered with a couple that we feel are going to give you some of the best course and class content available to you. We also wanted help in vetting all of these courses and classes that are coming available, because there's just becoming so many and so many different companies that are offering them. It's hard to determine which is best or better. And with Steve's experience and knowledge of the marketplace and what's really going to come into the United States more heavily, it was just kind of a no-brainer. So what are our results there, Kayla?
All right, looks like 14% are offering online classes from one provider, 86% from 2+ providers. Looks like there aren't any that are not offering online classes that answered.
Okay. Okay. Great. So I was starting to talk a little bit about our partnership, and so let's see, Steve, let's see, I met you about 3 years ago again, right, at ACHE. Steve's sitting across the table from me with his blue eyes. It was very interesting because I was excited that he was coming back into the marketplace, and we had had a relationship for so long. And Steve can explain to you a little bit more why he partnered with us, but it was just kind of like coming back home again, and it made sense. We've had a trusting relationship for years, and with his knowledge and his experience about gathering multiple different course and class offerings that we could offer you, it was turnkey solution. And so as I spoke to Steve, I said, well, the big thing what we want to do is make sure that these classes that are offered, the student can sign on immediately, and it's single sign-on with one profile. And he said, yeah, I think we can do this. So Steve, I'll pass this to you now as to why the partnership.
Super. Thanks, Beth. And greetings from Augusoft's beautiful Minneapolis area headquarters. Some or all of you may remember me from the industry. We pioneered online learning and the use of the web to deliver self-paced training back in the early 90s. Worked to build a nice business up. I sold and retired from the United States market about 6 years ago. Sold the company that's now called Ed2Go, career training. That was Gatlin Education Services. So we worked in Europe, and we worked all over the world, just outside of North America, where we had a non-compete for 5 years. With websites, and our headquarters were in London and Germany, France, Mexico, Spain. So a lot of course providers around the world that we partnered with. We developed courses where we saw the need, and we found the best programs in the world. And not only the best programs, but by partnering with some organizations that used online learning in a different fashion. You know, to me, this is all about helping people find a career, you know, change their life, feed their families. This is not about usually a business person trying to add on a small 2-hour skill. This is something substantial, and we build certificate programs and align with national or international associations to provide the certifications that help people get jobs. So these programs in many cases, can't just be delivered by posting some online content and hoping people succeed. If many of you, and I'm sure you've all tried to take surveys after people have taken programs, and you know, just to find out their experience or how well they did, and it's challenging to motivate an individual just by the way you design a program. It's very important that you have some add-on elements to training. In this case, career counseling, a services department that helps motivate people through jobs into internships, which are the pathway to a career and a job. And we take what courses we've developed. We take the best courses from around the world, from dozens of providers, package them into a library, and I believe we probably have the biggest library in this industry, certainly, maybe by far. Some short courses where we think there's demand, but a lot of really quality career training programs, things that they cost, you know, high dollar in some cases. But they include a tremendous amount of support. We help people by way past any other metrics in this industry, help people succeed with the program, succeed with finding their internships in some cases. In some cases, we have guaranteed internships, depending on the relationship with the national associations. So we have over 30 national certifications that these students receive today, depending on their program. So it's very important, obviously, for career development to receive that, that symbol of success. So
let me interrupt you. Let's go ahead and take a polling question here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then we're going to get into more of those details too as we go on here.
All right, so our third polling question is, what are your students using to register for classes? The options here are an ERP, Lumens, or something else.
This is kind of critical too, especially when we start talking about how that student registers and how that student will register for an online class or other classes, and when you want to do a blending offering, which we'll get into too.
All right, so it looks like we have 50% Lumens and 50% something else.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll go to the next slide here.
Yes.
Okay, and so this tells you a little bit more about world education, right, and your mission. And I think, Steve, you covered quite a bit. I guess my one question is when you're coming back into the United States, what are some of the biggest things top 3 things that are really, you want the customer base, your customer base to really know about how they should be doing business differently?
Well,
from your experience from Europe.
Number one, by far, what's important to us is to impact the students with online career training. And the reason we got into this business to begin with was that we were in the classroom business just like you guys are. We offered classes in travel and healthcare, careers, and students would take those Tuesday, Thursday classes, and the very people we're trying to reach would miss a class. They have these social challenges with daycare, various social issues, and miss a class, fall behind, fail. So we wrote these self-paced programs and designed these so we could help a student succeed, reach their goal. No one's taking medical transcription for fun. It's pharmacy technician. These are people that need these skill sets, need to succeed, and they need our help to succeed. Because in practice, if you don't help them, they don't. Only 30 to 40% will succeed on their own. So we can generate numbers that double that if we put the labor and the effort and the empathy into it. So that's number one for us. Number two, I think for you guys, is to help us identify these people that we can help. You see someone that comes into your office or calls. We've got lots of grant programs, whether it's workforce training grants, military grants programs that we work with. We have loan programs that will help support these students. And we've got grant writers on our staff to work with every partner that we have in the United States to help write these workforce grants, to tie the programs. And our staff, by the way, will help you tie each one of these programs with your local workforce boards and in-demand occupations so that we can identify what every community, what's popular, what's needed, what resonates with employers, and then match students to those areas, those program areas. So that's what I see as the top 2 most important reasons. The third, the reason why I'm back in this business and out of retirement, basically, as CEO of World Education, we got a great team, and most of the team came from Gatlin Education and been in this business for 15 years plus, and they know what works and what doesn't work in online training. But the reason we're back into it is because no one else really does it as well as it needs to be done for the students' sake. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. Okay. So you kind of covered this, right?
Yeah.
Pretty well.
I'm a little behind on punching buttons here. So a catalog categories. We've got a lot of things in languages, from German to Spanish, a lot of Spanish programs in particular. So that resonates with, I don't know who's down in Miami or South Texas or Tucson in this webinar, but it resonates with a lot of the country, I think. And healthcare, like everyone, is the most popular programs. And they're the most jobs in this country for sure come through the healthcare training. But we're just about to roll out. We're rolling out in phases programs. This month we have, I think, 68 with Lumens. We'll have over 300 for January. And I'd like the goal of this is that we partner, and our account and business development folks work with you guys to help increase your offerings or replace your offerings with these programs that have so much support for January. You can offer them before then, or you can turn it on in Lumens, but we want to focus our efforts on the spring quarter and really make some good choices together. Because if you take, honestly, I don't want to trash anyone else. I wrote all Ed to Go's courses, so I'm not going to say anything negative about those. But legal secretary, paralegals, pharmacy techs, if the people, there are 3 or 4 different companies that have written programs like this. The way we offer the program, nearly twice as many people are going to succeed. So it's not the same thing. It may have the same title. It's a giant difference. So we're rolling out programs, and these will all be ready for January. They're not in the catalog today. Oil and gas technician, petrochemical, manufacturing, mechatronics, some really sophisticated programs that are well designed, beautifully designed, and address some of the, there's 4 million empty jobs out there, or unfilled jobs, and that's what we've been concentrating on, is how do we bridge that skill gap between the students that need jobs and all these employers that are clamoring for more workers. So we can do that, and we can do that by working with your workforce boards, your local companies, as well as the grant programs. So, you have to find some way to help these students, and if they call. So we're in it with you in that sense, and that's the goal there. So skill trades, really increasing course development in that area. We can also help people finish high school. The online high school programs that we tie in together with certificate programs and certifications. No one has as many certifications as we do in the industry, probably combined. And so we have, and usually it costs a lot of money to partner with these national associations, but it's really what the outcome that these students require. And so we go to the trouble and the labor and the effort, and so. A lot of the most popular programs, the internships, we pioneered internships. It was a gamble doing blended learning about 10 years ago, where we wrote a pharmacy technician program and partnered with Walgreens and CVS pharmacies, which are nearly ubiquitous, and it worked like a charm. So since then, we've added internships to a number of other programs, particularly in healthcare. And because of the national certifications, the networking there, we've been able to, our internship group, have been able to really help people find that pathway to careers. So a lot of healthcare, but we're going to have some great sellers in manufacturing. I think that's really booming back in the United States, and proud to say that. Our project management's the best in the business. Travel agent training's how I started. It's a fun class, a nice niche course nowadays. So, and we're looking for feedback, and as we work with the local workforce boards in every market, we'll see some things that we don't do now, and we could do if we had, either, well, if we just did the course development on it, or if we found a couple of local corporations that need people that want to help with a blended component. And that's something our staff will do, all of that. We just need a partnership to get us going. Okay? All the Microsoft programs, all the IT, and we're writing more all the time. Now, a lot of people have this model. We invented this model, self-paced, open enrollment. We support students with two things. One, every student on the certificate programs has a mentor that they work with one-on-one throughout the program. But besides that, they have a career coach that takes their cell phone number the day they register, follows up with their progress through the program. You know, they're setting them up with job or internship opportunities, and sometimes we promise them in healthcare particularly. Sometimes we don't, but in every case we try and help facilitate an internship with a local employer. They also follow up after the people get a job, and well, helping them get a job for one thing with job prep and resume building. So this is a personal relationship. It's not a help desk. This is someone that knows relatively intimately this student. And at the end, we're able to, and we talked about surveys earlier, you know, you get 10% of people that will respond to a survey. Well, we have their cell phone. You know, we'll go to their house and survey them practically. This is how you get people to succeed in online learning. It's a challenge, and I've already failed one MOOC. I don't know if anyone else. That'd be a good polling question. Who's completed a MOOC yet? But it's hard to stay motivated when we're so busy. So that's how that's what separates us from everyone in the world. This is what we learned over in Germany and over in Europe. You know, it's apprenticeship programs. That's how people get jobs and careers in Europe. It's not just, you know, give me a course and throw me out and, you know, wish me the best. And so it's that model that we're bringing back to the United States. Connie Smith runs our account management and partner accounts, and she's fabulous at it. So you're not used to the kind of high-touch thing that we do, or we would like to do in partnership with many of you guys, and that's to help reach the local communities, and whether it's grants or workforce boards or the military partnerships. We use social media and amongst a number of marketing concepts with our marketing support. And you just need to get a hold of Connie to hear her list of things that she does for everyone. So it's worth listening to. You can at least go back and say to those 2+ other providers, go, why don't y'all do this? So let's see. And by the way, we're not really hoping to be the third provider. We want to replace the majority of people. We have the catalog that you need, and with Lumens, you've got everything in one place. You've got World Education that vets all the quality programs, because not all these programs out that are being written are worthy of your students. So we'll help you decide what is. You can trust Lumens and World Education together to put it in your catalog. We'd like to try and find a time to make your spring deadlines, I think, Connie would, with so she's got a big catalog, not just what you've seen or what you've seen in Lumens to date. So over 300 programs to pick from and choose for the January, you know, and therefore, and forward from there.
Just to let everybody know, you probably have some questions for Steve or for our team here at Augusoft, so we'll take those questions here at the end of the webinar.
Yeah, this is a little information about the, Beth, do they have access to this after the webinar?
Yes, they do. It's all being recorded.
Okay. I've been wandering around a bit, but this gives a pen to paper on some of the concepts. It's really important to check in with these students. No one else does it. In the old days, I used to send out some, weekly emails, but that's not best practices in my opinion anymore. And that's so.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for your time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Steve, we'll have you back here in a sec. So this is just basically shows you how you would upload these classes. And as Steve said, there is going to be 3 groups of classes that are going to come to you in 3 waves. Okay. The first group is available now to upload into your Lumens catalog. And then that'll end the first group is there right now, and then there'll be the next group, which will be coming out in November, and then the next group will come out in December. And we're doing them in 3 waves so that you guys have time to absorb all of this class course content. It gives you time to work with Connie Smith and her team, all right, and to choose which ones are going to be best. And we've got price lists and all of that for all 3 groups. So you can start reviewing that right away. As of today in the afternoon, we can send that information to you. So this is basically, you're just looking at Lumens, and this, you go to your admin menu and go into the online course management piece and to import these classes. And the first set of group is about 62 courses that you'd import, and you'd hit import. So just go to the next here. Is it this one? Mm-hmm. Okay. This, you would determine where they would go in by category, subcategory, and everybody does it a little bit different. I was talking to Steve about that earlier, about where really should you put these online classes on your Lumens site. Many of them, some people use the multiple catalog feature, and they choose one catalog that specifically lists all the online classes, and then they scan that World Ed would offer. Or they choose to take, handpick a couple of them and mix them in with other in-person classes. Some people are using them also to create certificate programs, which we really want to encourage. To use this curriculum also as a supplement. It is expensive to develop the curriculum. It takes a tremendous amount of time, and this is why we have these online class providers to help us with that. So obviously this is from the student perspective. They would go through a single sign-on process, just like what you've experienced with Ed2Go, and with Pearson, the student goes in, signs their username, password, and logs in, or they create a new profile, and they're immediately taken into the class. Okay. There is one profile location, it goes in, with that, when they register, you get a class registration confirmation the student does with a link to the class, and they click on that link from their email and get taken into that class course offering of World Ed. And of course the idea is to help you guys make money, because we always talk about self-sustaining programs, as does Learn, and this is really critical during this time. So working with Steve's team to determine which classes and courses are going to be the best for your spring offering is going to be critical. Okay? So if you are ready to activate in Lumens, all you need to do is contact a NIN, who's our subject matter expert here, just by going to ocp@augustsoft.net. And what she will do is walk you through basically what I just showed you. She can share with you the price listings of all of that, and she can also talk to you about how these courses and classes are going to be billed. And that's another thing. One thing, when Steve and I started talking, I said we needed to streamline this process of this billing and this contract process. And because World Education is really a third-party vendor, no different than any of the other vendors that we work with, to either create integration or customizations or partners with other larger providers, even like we're working on an LMS integration here. they're really considered third-party vendors, and your agreement with Augusoft already covers that, and that's why you don't need a separate agreement with World Ed. The other aspect of it is that we wanted to streamline the billing process, so you won't get a bill from World Ed, you'll get a bill from Augusoft. We automatically know what classes and courses your students are registering for, and we send that out to you monthly, and you just pay us, and then we reimburse Steve back for those class costs. So we'll go ahead and take some more questions for you too, and we also have some FAQs that we can also send to you afterwards, because I'm sure what I just explained to you, you have more questions about that. If you are not a Lumens customer yet and you're a World Ed customer, we would love to help you, love to work with you, and depending on no matter what your enrollment system is, even if you are being forced to use Banner or Colleague, we understand. We're not going anywhere, and we now have live integration with all of those systems, including PeopleSoft. So the IT can't say, no, you can't have Lumens anymore because it doesn't interface with the ERP. We do have it. It does work, and it makes it just that much more easier for your students and customers. And regarding data and all of that. So let's go ahead and take some questions here. Here's some brochures. We said we'd send this stuff out to you, which we can. So, okay. We're doing well on time, too.
All right. That's the benefit of talking fast.
Absolutely.
Which you and I can both do.
Oh, really well.
All right, so it looks like the first question here is, this one is for Steve. Since you mentioned founding Ed2Go, how...
Well, Rosa, I founded the career training company that's now Ed2Go Career Training. It used to be called Gatlin Education Services. And outside of the United States, we're called Gatlin International, but I'm not allowed to use my name anymore in the United States. So we're worldeducation.net here. There's a big difference. They're a large corporation owned by Cengage Learning. You know, we wrote most of their certificate programs. As far as I know, and they haven't written a new one since. But the major difference is being a part of a giant corporation. They've got to make profits. They've got to push the bottom line a little bit. You know, they still have good online content, I'm sure. And they're not trying to take advantage of anyone, but they have to cut corners to make more money. That's you cut student services if you want to make more money. You don't cut sales. So in our case, I own this company, and employee-owned, you know, with some of my top management. And we're about doing an amazing job for the student and letting the finances kind of follow that. So I'd call that the big difference, the career services. Many more people will finish our programs. Many more of your students will finish our programs than will finish Ed2Go's or ProTrain, any other provider. So in this industry, in the United States. Hope that helped.
All right. Next question here. If you do not use Lumens software for registration, can you still offer World Education online classes?
Yes, you can, Linda. I don't think Beth wants me to talk about this too much right now, but you're welcome.
Right.
You're welcome to call
Call
Connie at our offices, and she'll or anyone at worldeducation.net's offices, and you should.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Okay.
All right, next one here. Students pay Augusoft for classes or directly to our college?
Okay, the student pays. Okay, the student, when they go and they register through Lumens, remember, they're registering and they're paying for that class via their credit card, and that credit card passes through a gateway and goes into the college's bank account, right? So it goes to, you collect the money first. Then what ends up happening is then Augusoft bills you for the class cost, okay, not what you sold it to the student for, but the actual class cost, and then you write Augusoft a check, and then Augusoft goes ahead and reimburses World Ed for that class. Okay?
Right. I think the typical arrangement for a college or university is to keep $300 or $500, depending on the program. And I was told that we had the best revenue share in the business, but I'm not sure. I don't know what everyone's arrangements are anymore.
Just go ahead.
The next question here is for Steve. We already partner with Ed2Go/Gatlin Education. Are any of the World Education courses duplicates of the Gatlin courses? If so, will I be able to select courses from World Education like I select them from Gatlin?
If I understand, well, thank you for still calling it Gatlin Education, by the way. That makes me really feel good. They've assimilated into Ed2Go now, but it really is Gatlin Education, and I still see that on many websites. The answer is that some courses that Ed2Go has that we didn't write at Gatlin Education, I offer those same courses. So there are a handful of courses that are identical to the catalog at Ed2Go, except for, of course, the service component that we employ. So that changes really everything. But the course content itself online is identical. But you are able, and we have many, many, many more courses that Ed2Go does not have. But, and we also, that have the national certifications and so on, that they haven't gone to the trouble or been able to partner with the association. So you would take a program, if it is an identical title, you could choose World Education's version, and it would be better for your students. If it's not an identical title, you know, if it's something they don't offer, then by all means choose the World Education course for your students. I hope that answered your question, Gail.
Okay.
All right.
A couple other things that I think you guys have questions on. These classes that are offered by World Education that are running through Lumens, some are self-ed, right?
That's right.
And some are instructor facilitated.
Right. Basically, if it's under $1,000, or unless it's, then it's probably a self-mentored program. The certificate programs, what I consider a certificate program, that we would sell for more than $1,000 with all the support, would have not only the mentor but also the career coach associated with it. But some of these programs, I think there's some in niche courses that are $100, $60. So you know, that we found have enough demand to warrant including into our library. And just take a look at the price list, and Connie can show you the entire price list, the entire list by category, prices, and the full listing, so you can make some determinations for next year's program offerings.
All right. We have another question here. What is the typical timeline for getting courses up? We use IntelliWorks for non-credit registration. Also, who awards the certificate for certificate programs? Our college is not permitted to offer a certificate for programs offered with third-party providers.
Well, the timeline for getting the courses up, if you're not using Lumens, I guess in this case, right?
That's right.
Okay. I don't know what IntelliWorks, but we would build a site in about a branded site for you in about 1 or 2 business days at the most. That could display all the programs, and you could have a link, online course link from your website. If you wanted to put the programs up in IntelliWorks, I would say, and Connie would be a better one to ask, but it might take you an import, it might take you a few hours, depending on the IT people. We have all the programs available from an admin site that you'll have login access to, and you just check which courses you want. And then that's on our side. On your side, you just have to do an import of the course descriptions, and that's basically an Excel spreadsheet. And we do not offer certificates in the United States. We prepare people for certifications, and the associations award that certification. But the colleges that we partner with always award a certificate of completion to the graduate of the program when notified by Lumens or World Education when they finish. So.
Right. And to answer your question too, Rosa, it depends on the interface of IntelliWorks on whether or not you can take that Excel sheet and upload it into IntelliWorks. I'm familiar with IntelliWorks a little bit, but not completely. But you may have to do some rekeying it in. Okay. Rekeying those classes in.
Yep. And Karen, on the instructor support, yes, absolutely. You're assigned a personal instructor that works with you for every program, unless they're the little $100 self-study programs, and then it's like a help desk, basically. But if you're in one of these serious programs that we write and we design and we vet for you guys, absolutely, you need someone that knows the material. And we always, when we write them, we hire the author to sit in and run the first, the programs until they can't, and until we need to hire more for more sections, but so they can really appreciate what the students are going through, and help improve the program. So everything's a dynamic process. So that's So SMEs for course content, career counselors for support, non-SME support. What I call a mom. So we don't tell people that, but that's what I call them.
Okay. Regarding, there was a question here about the revenue split. I think what you're asking for is what you guys are seeing is when you upload the course class world education content, okay, class content, it's a report. It provides you a manufacturer's retail or manufactured price and then the retail price of what you're sold. So what is that? It's going to give you two different prices. One is a price of the class cost to you, and then a manufactured suggested retail price. That is the suggested price that World Ed is suggesting you sell that class for in your particular market. If you want to add another $20 or another $50 or $1,000 to that class, that's up to you. But Steve's team is going to already give you kind of what that suggested retail price should be. As far as us offering this class, there's no price difference between if you were to buy it direct from Steve or buy it from us. Right. There's no price difference because that's why we formed the partnership. It is all to give our Augusoft clients real easy access to these classes, and it helps Steve because now he has over 200 colleges and universities that he can now reach out to and sell his courses and classes to too. So
yeah, it's a per student fee, and the more the program, the more extensive the program, the more it costs, the more the college keeps from that. But it's also the more support that we're able to give you. I mean, obviously we're a for-profit organization, so we've got to align our revenues and our expenses. But the team, Connie's team, can go out there and really find find support and grants and funding for the students on these big career training programs that are $3,000 or $4,000, you know, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in some cases.
So Steve, give everybody an idea. We talk about margins. You know, they talk about the margins. What is the average margin for your higher-ended classes, the ones that sell from $1,000 to $3,000?
Yeah, margins for whom?
Margins for the college.
Yeah. So I would, you know, Connie, I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm not the one that prices these, but I believe 300 is the minimum for a certificate program, and it goes up from there. So
Okay.
per student. So and you know how many students need this career training? If you align with the local in-demand occupations, and especially the workforce boards, they love this, and that's our specialty, and so it adds up quickly.
Okay. One of the other questions that many of you ask us is and ask the provider is, what's the completion rate, success rate for world education courses? And Steve's team provided us feedback that, based on the feedback from some of their current provider partners, they're seeing a 60 to 70% completion rate, which is quite good. Is that right, Steve?
Well, that's right. That's what's amazing in this industry. But what's really cool about it is how we're working to improve that. You know, the way you have success is, especially, you can, if people are motivated and they can see their outcome, not just a completion of their program, but what they're going to be able to do with it. So to integrate with the local employers, which is our new focus, and that's how we're going to try and drive this to 80% over time. So.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Kayla?
I don't think there's any other questions here.
Okay, and I'm trying to think if there was anything else that, again, we've got an FAQ we can send out to you with more of the specific information, because I'm sure there is some classes and differences that you might want to ask Min or Steve's team on what's there. Steve, maybe you can share kind of, what do you see, since we've got you here, what do you see the future for online classes going? I mean, are we going to see it continue to grow? Are you going to see, and have you seen more of the colleges really being able to sell some of their own online classes overseas, or how is that taken? Well, we're seeing a lot of the major universities providing, you know, all of this type of programming for international students, and there's a fight for the international students now in the marketplace.
Well, see, there's a lot of partners. It's interesting you say that we have a lot of partners around the world that request relationships with U.S.-based educational institutions. So we have a few opportunities there if someone wants to talk to me on the side. I think for colleges writing programs, continuing ed, non-credit sides, you know, the budget's obviously, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, that the budget's not really there for it. There is a lot of canned programs out there, and there's some things that we have you could take, and I would have never said this 15 years ago when I was espousing online learning and e-learning as the solution, that I think it's come full circle to blended learning solutions offer a lot of opportunity. So, you know, for us, we have to really be able to, because we're, you know, international, if we promise something in Billings, Montana, or Fort Lauderdale, Florida, I've got to be able to deliver it. But particularly on educational institutions that are addressing their localized market, it's relatively easy to take an online module or two and pair it with the classroom and build your own blended learning solutions. You look like rock stars in the organization, and to do some good for the students because they love the flexibility. I know my sons do. They would, they'd be on an 8-year program track if it wasn't for online learning at their university. So.
Right. Someone I haven't introduced to all of you because she's listening all the way from Istanbul, Turkey, is Samantha. Sam, if you can unmute yourself, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you think our customers are going to have questions for?
Hi everybody, this is Samantha. A couple things that I know that we've talked about in the past that come up in general are just mostly we've addressed. It's just that of course you can use world education classes even if you're not a Lumens customer yet. No, I'm just kidding. Of course you can use a World Ed without Lumens. A couple other things we didn't really talk yet about how you get started other than sending your information to OCP at Augusoft. Is just how simple it is really to get started, and all we do is collect a couple pieces of information from you, set up a few things on our end, and then you're able to download those classes right away and put whatever you'd like in your catalog. So I think we just want to emphasize how easy it is because we do get a lot of questions about that. People automatically assume it's going to take a big training curve and so forth, but it's actually very relatively simple. Other than that, I think we pretty much touched on everything else, unless there were other questions coming in. We'll go ahead and, of course, document all the questions that did come in, and then other questions that have come in generally in the past, and get those out to the participants.
Sam, I would just sum up on, or as a takeaway, if I were you, if I was an educational institution, what I'd want to know the most popular programs from either your account executive at Lumens or Connie Smith, her group, and I'd also want to know what the national certifications are and internships. Those are the three biggest concepts at play here. All the programs have career coaches and mentors, but those are the three things that if you knew that information, it could help you make some really intelligent decisions for the future of your catalog. It'd be a good partnership.
Yep, and those, I mean, while they're all nationwide, generally the same, there are a few variations within the markets that people or our clients are serving. So after we identify, what exactly, whether you're a more rural or urban program and so forth, and a couple other qualifying factors, it's pretty easy for us. And also World Ed, or this is most specifically, I'd say Connie's role is to help you decide which classes you might want to download, because as Steve mentioned, there will be up to 300 classes to choose from, and that's probably a bit of an overwhelming piece to take on when you think about, gosh, I got to look through 300 classes and so forth. But we can also expedite that part for you and just work strategically on what classes you might want to start to market and play with. And even if you're not offering online classes yet, that's a whole new territory to start with. So we'll work with you to start small and then build your catalog as we go.
Great. Okay, I'm going to let Steve close this webinar. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, we have a saying, worldeducation.net, of course, is our little acronym is WE, and together we can change the world, particularly for a lot of students that need our help. So thanks for your time.
All right, thank you everyone. We will send out the recording within the week, and have a great day.
I'm not going to be your